She's raging, jealous, and completely losing control. Meghan Markle has just become the Timu Victoria Beckham, and she can't stand it. As Victoria Beckham's Netflix series climbs to the top of the charts, Meghan's with love, Meghan has quietly disappeared. That alone tells you everything. Let's listen to what Dan Wooten's perspective reveals before we continue, because this feud goes way back.
Meghan Markle has just become the Timu Victoria Beckham. And guess what? She's furious, raging, totally overwhelmed with jealousy by the success of Victoria's Netflix reality series, which has gone to the top of the charts and had huge amounts of promotional money pumped in by Netflix. Everything they didn't do with Love Meghan, because they knew they were not only dealing with a massive flop, but they were dealing with an inauthentic protagonist who wasn't opening up and revealing the truth about her life. Now, of course, the feud between Meghan Markle and Victoria Beckham dates back some years. It dates back to Meghan's time within the royal family, when Victoria had very graciously offered to help Meghan with her fashion and her clothes and sort of finding the right people who could help her out in London. And let's be honest, she needed the help. You know, Meghan needed the help. She's not up there when it comes to fashion and beauty. But then when that was leaked to the tabloids, Meghan immediately blamed Victoria. She even forced Prince Harry to cut David Beckham off, even though he had travelled to Australia with two of his sons for the Invictus Games. So a massive feud has ensued for some time. The Beckhams have, of course, very much aligned themselves with the British royal family, both William and Catherine, and now King Charles and Camilla. Meanwhile, Meghan's simmering obsession has just got weirder. And we've seen it all week in New York City and in Washington, D.C., whereas, according to Taz pointed out, comparing and contrasting a whole load of these outfits and moments on social media, it's like a scary Timu Victoria Beckham. You just know she's watched every episode of Victoria's Netflix shows. All the latest photos in New York are her with her hand in her pocket, big sunglasses, trying not to smile. Beckham has a stalker now. And Rebuilude's source added, sadly, I need to add to this trend. Victoria, photographed at her Netflix documentary release party on the 10th of October, Mrs. Sussex photographed today. I mean, come on, that's unmistakable. It is completely unmistakable. And P. Dinah, as Victoria Beckham secures the cover of Hello magazine solo this week, as she is right up there on the international charts of Netflix, something Meghan never achieved on her own with Love Meghan. There is a simmering rage coming from Montecito at the fact that Victoria can make it in her own right, yet she can't.
You know what is hitting Meghan in the face right now is the fact that Victoria has, like you said, she's made it on her own. She was successful in the girl band, and now she has worked really hard to get success in the fashion world. And Meghan will always be known as someone who married into the royal family. That is where her success stops and ends. She has no independent success with anything that she has done outside of her connection to the royal family. And that infuriates Meghan. And I have to give it off to Victoria because she has earned my respect, something Meghan will never get, because Meghan wants to always be the victim. She doesn't want to show herself as someone who has learned anything. But Victoria, she talks about her failures. She talks about the struggles she has had. We're in her home. We are behind the scenes of her business. We don't see all the good, pretty things. We see the ugly and hard to accept things as well. That is where you get respect from people, when you show the things that don't really necessarily put you in a good light. You earn respect that way because you're vulnerable. People can relate to you. Meghan doesn't want people to see what we all know is happening. She's failed. She doesn't want to talk about her failures. She doesn't want to talk about how, she went wrong here. She wants to blame and accuse people to make herself appear like the victim to get sympathy. And you can't get sympathy from being a victim and being somebody who has problems because they beat up on you, whatever. We don't care. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with when things don't happen in the way you had envisioned them to happen? Meghan can't bring herself to do it, but Victoria can. And she herself said in her documentary how she had to earn the respect. She had to make the mistakes and be told that is a mistake, not being told what you want to hear as a powerful person. She went there with people, and that's why she has people's respect. And Meghan will never get respect because, like I said, her success ends with who she married, and that is it. It goes no further than you married a prince. Anything outside of that marriage is a failure, Meghan, and she can't accept it. That's the problem with Meghan.
She can't. And what's so interesting about Victoria's series, P. Dinah, is that it's exactly what Meghan Markle should have done. And I think that's what's going to be so galling for her. If Meghan had actually been really genuine and invited the cameras in and truly shown them how she launched this business as ever. And we saw the disasters, the bad moments, and there was a sense of jeopardy. And you certainly get that in the Victoria Beckham documentary, for example, when she's hosting this Paris Fashion Week show and everything starts to go wrong and it's pouring down with rain and a model's been injured. You know, you see that sense of jeopardy. You even see the tension between her and David at times. And she was prepared to open up. I mean, with her series, P. Dinah, we're actually in her home. You know,
Right.
we're seeing her children. It is truly authentic. And I say this as someone that's had my issues with the Beckhams in the past, but this was absolutely what Meghan Markle should have done. Because compared to this Victoria Beckham series, Meghan's With Love looks like a piece of propaganda. We know we're not seeing the real Meghan because we're not even seeing her real home. And I think people now do want that authenticity. So Victoria put it all on the line. And also she was risking quite a lot. You know, she admitted how difficult it was when David Beckham was bankrolling her business. Well, we know Meghan would never do that. She's never been prepared to admit that, let's be honest, she's launched as ever on Prince Harry's money and his inheritance from the damn late Queen Mother. She's not prepared to admit that. She admitted that she's had an eating disorder and that she's had huge issues in terms of her public perception and how she's viewed and how she was a laughing stock. Meghan Markle, not prepared to do that. We saw it this week in the interview on stage at Washington, D.C. In Meghan's world, everything's hunky-dory.
Victoria once offered to help Meghan with London's fashion scene, kindly and privately. But when that was leaked, Meghan turned on her, accused her of gossiping, and even forced Harry to distance himself from David Beckham. Since then, the Beckhams have kept their loyalty to the royals, not the Sussexes. Fast forward to now, Victoria Beckham is thriving. She's opened up her life in a raw, authentic Netflix documentary showing the hard work, the stress, the tension, and even her vulnerabilities. Viewers loved it because it was real. It wasn't polished perfection, it was relatable. Meanwhile, Meghan's series felt staged, more propaganda than personality. There was no risk, no honesty, no emotion. People can tell when you're hiding something, and that's why her audience has drifted away. Now, the irony, Meghan's out in New York and DC, dressing, posing, even moving like Victoria Beckham, the same woman she once blamed and rejected. From the sunglasses to the hand-in-pocket pose, it's uncanny. Social media's noticed, calling her to move Victoria Beckham, and they're not wrong. It's like Meghan's trying to copy the one thing she can't buy, authenticity. The truth is, Victoria earned respect by showing her struggles. Meghan still hides behind the image. And that's the difference between admiration and frustration. Victoria's success proves that vulnerability wins hearts, perfection loses them. And that, more than anything, is what's burning Meghan in Montecito right now. What do you think? Is Meghan jealous of Victoria's rise? Or is this just media hype Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this rivalry isn't cooling down anytime soon. Stay tuned. Authenticity has taken the crown, and Meghan Markle might just be realizing it too late.